my friend and neighbor Bill Otani, he started an annual Matsutake mushroom hunt, sponsored through the Historical Society, I believe. And early on, I was one of the drivers in the vans and everything, and it was tons of fun. We alternated between going to the coast in the dunes area and up to Mount Hood. And so I met a lot of nice folks and heard lots of stories about when they were kids and they would go Matsutake hunting and that sort of thing. But yeah, his dad would come with us. And I mean, I remember him being out there at 100 years old, walking up and down the hills, and somebody was always right next to him in case he started slipping or something. But yeah, it was amazing.
I never found any mushrooms, but I loved walking in the woods. I loved the smell of the woods. And occasionally my grandpa would point out a spot. He'd say, "See that little mound there? Dig it." Sure enough, there would be a mushroom there.
Matsutake is a family type of thing, and in fact it's carried to the point where it becomes a family secret where you go to find these matsutake, because they call these matsutake su, which means a plot or an area where this matsutake grows. It doesn't grow anywhere. You have to have a certain condition. You have to have certain temperatures, certain sunlight, and you have to have a tree like a hemlock tree, okay, whose roots put out the rhizomes and encourage the matsutake to grow in fairy rings, okay. And the fairy rings, it starts in the middle one year, and then every year the ring expands, and matsutake grow around the ring, and it keeps expanding and expanding, okay. And if you find a ring, it's a family secret, okay, and so you don't dare go out of the family. So you pass it on to your children and your grandchildren, but you never ever share it with anybody else, okay.
The people that we're with who grew up around here say, "Oh yeah, my dad told us do not, just say in general terms, oh, we got them on Mount Hood," not road number such and such, milepost, whatever, that sort of thing. So it's kind of funny that way.
And there's another rule. It's also very close to a poisonous amaryllis mushroom, so you don't want to just pick anything. You have to have that texture, and you have to have the fragrance. So that is passed on in the family. The rule of thumb is you have to pass it through two to three generations. Okay, that means you got to pass it when you pick it from person to person. And if it passes the 2 or 3 person test, that's okay. You test the structure, the texture, and you test, and the telling part is the fragrance. It must have the fragrance. If it's not, if it's even questionable, you throw it away, okay, because it's so close to the poisonous amaryllis, okay, whose heads just pop right off. A matsutake is noted because it's firm and the heads do not pop up, okay.
And we had, expert mushroom identifiers, and Forest Service botanists came to make sure that nobody took anything home that wasn't going to be edible and or dangerous.
My grandma always packed up a big lunch. So we had onigi, or if there was leftover sushi, she would take it. I mean, it was a regular outdoor picnic, camping to go mushroom hunting. Love that, such a great memory. Still can taste the matsutake that we would bring home.
And then we'd have a big get-together for dinner, and people would make some of their matsutake dishes, like matsutake rice and grilled matsutake and matsutake soup, and the various ways that people make that.
In the old days, we used to get sacks, gunny sacks, of 2 or 3 bags of matsutake, Okay, this was like, maybe, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And so we could come home, slice them up, and pan fry them with butter, and very easy to prepare. You just pan fry it in butter in a big pan, and then you put it a whole serving of matsutake mushrooms, thinly sliced, on top of your hot steaming rice. And that was a delicacy.
My mother used to, one of her favorite was we'd have so many, we would just put it in the oven, and she would just bake it, steam it, bake it. And we always had lots of daikon, so we'd grate up the daikon, put it, with the cooked mushroom, put a little vinegar on it, have some hot rice. It was wonderful, wonderful
Very
flavor.
simple.
Yeah, very simple. That's how, in my childhood, that's what we had, were simple home-cooked meals.